Welcome to the Industrial Talk Podcast with Scott McKenzie. Scott is a passionate industry professional dedicated to transferring cutting-edge, industry-focused innovations and trends while highlighting the men and women who keep the world moving. So put on your hard hat, grab your work boots, and let's go.
All right, welcome to the Industrial Talk Podcast. It is a great day to be in industry. This is a no legacy thinking zone right now. You always ask the question, what if and why not? Because you're industry heroes. You are bold, you are brave, you dare greatly, you're changing lives, you're solving problems, and you're changing the world. Why not? You guys are absolutely wonderful. Thank you very much for joining the podcast. In the hot seat, in the Industrial Talk hot seat, we've got a gentleman by the name of Patrick O'Reilly. He is the founder of FactoryFix. Pretty cool name, quite frankly. And you know what they're doing? They're doing a lot of stuff in trying to match up labor, the tough labor market. How do you leverage technology to help manufacturers succeed, matching up important, critical people with the needs of the manufacturer? That's what we're talking about. He's solving problems. FactoryFix team is solving problems. Let's get cracking. Yeah, again, you're going to look at somebody like Patrick. He said, hey, what if? Why not? He's asking that question in a big way. Before we get in the interview, you know what I got to do? Take care of a little business. All right, paper and pencil once again. This is October 5th through the 7th. This is this year, 2021. This is the IoT Solutions World Congress. It's in the beautiful town of Barcelona. And I'm telling you, they're going to be talking a lot about IoT, AI, and everything that's Industrial 4.0 from the best of the best. Great organization, IoT Solutions World Congress, as well as the Industrial Internet Consortium. Both organizations dedicated to your success. Let's get back to normal. The other one. It is the Manufacturing and Technology Show. This is in beautiful Cleveland, Ohio, which is a great place to be. This is November 9th through the 11th. It is talking all about manufacturing solutions. I'm looking at my doggone screen here. It's on the website. It's going to be out on industrialtalk.com, the homepage. We just got to do everything we can. We've got to think about getting back to normal. And events like the Manufacturing and Technology Show, November 9th through the 11th, boom, great opportunity for, getting back to normal or whatever that next normal is. We've got to keep moving. We got to keep pressing forward with a sense of tenacity and speed. All right. Again, Patrick O'Reilly, founder, FactoryFix, in the hot seat. We're going to be talking about manufacturing labor market. Yep. Skills gap. Absolutely. And recruiting and hiring. Had a great conversation with an individual pro today, and we're just talking once again about that skill gap out there. We need people to fulfill these manufacturing jobs. These are sophisticated jobs that need to be filled. We've got to do a better job at getting that message out. It's an exciting time. Let's get the people out there working. All right, enjoy the conversation with Patrick O'Reilly. Patrick, welcome to the Industrial Talk Podcast. Thank you very much for joining this prestigious platform that features wonderful heroes all across industries. How about that? Yeah, try to top that, Patrick.
It's an honor to be here.
For the listeners out there, let's give us a little 411 on who you are.
Yeah, so I am the founder of a company called FactoryFix. And what FactoryFix is, we're a manufacturing hiring platform. So essentially, we have a big online community of manufacturing workers, and we built some really cool technology to match you to the right ones. And then it will also vet out all of the applicants, so you're only dealing with the good fits for your specific company and job.
I have to ask it. How is it different than some of the other sites that are out there that sort of do something similar, where I'm trying to match? You're a matchmaker of companies and individuals. How does yours differ from that?
Yeah, so when you're talking about the LinkedIns of the world or Craigslist or Indeed, one, we're 100% focused on manufacturing. So the people we're recruiting to our network are everyone from, welders, machinists, maintenance mechanics, electricians, even up until the higher skilled roles, some of the automation technicians, robot programmers, controls engineers. So that's one, the focus there, but we're going deeper on each worker's profile than a, general job board would. We're finding out if you're a machinist, for example, do you work on mills or lathes or, grinding machines, even down to the brand level, if you worked on Haas's or Mazaks, that sort of thing. And, when you as an employer signs up, we do this onboarding process with you to find out what machines and technologies are you using in your facility, right? Like what types of CNC machines do you have? And that enables us to make better matches and send you people that in theory will hit the ground running and be valuable from day one.
I like that, and I like that focus because I think your analogy of CNC is a great example. There are a ton of CNC machines out there, and with that inventory of CNC machines, there's ways of using them. And if you're better skilled at a Mazak versus another type of brand, boom, yeah. And I think, and you're right, the other platforms that provide solutions like you're talking about don't go into that level of detail by no means. So me as an employer, I like that. Why wouldn't I like that?
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I think not only do we have our own network, but those other networks, they're partners of ours too. So when you as a company, you post a job on FactoryFix, we're also sending, feeds to those other networks as well. And, we just want to be like this turnkey package, almost like a talent department, as a service, so that, instead of having to hire a bunch of people internally or having to post to all these individual job boards, you have one source and, we can get it all done for you.
Yeah, and I like that. That's a neat pain relief for the topic that we're going to be talking about, because I think what we've known, and I think it's out in the news, that there's a really tight labor market, and to be able to have that tight labor market and then match the skills. There's a skills gap. Are we doing a good job? And I think that's going to be a great topic to talk about. Let's talk a little bit about that problem. What are we seeing out there in the marketplace today from a manufacturing's perspective and labor?
Yeah, I mean, it's beyond tight. Like it's as bad as like I've ever seen it. And not only, it's not just confined to manufacturing either. I mean, you look at any industry, frankly. I mean, you just look at like McDonald's and Chipotle just had to raise their minimum wage to attract people. But manufacturers have this unique problem to where, they can't provide some of this like hybrid flexibility, work from home stuff, right? So there's an inherent like disadvantage of attracting talent, especially for like some of the more entry level positions. You don't have some of this flexibility that other positions can offer. But, manufacturing companies do have an advantage in that, manufacturing can be like a career, right? Not just a job. Like there is progressive career steps that you can take after you get this first entry level job. But, I think it's competitive as hell out there. Obviously the government and like the unemployment benefits are at an all-time higher as like generous as they've ever been. So, you have to make sure, at least for some of these entry-level roles, that the pay rate is above what someone would be making just kind of living off the government right now. And it's as close as it's ever been. So it's very difficult.
So correct me if I'm wrong. if I want to keep my doors open, and that requires people, that requires skilled individuals, that require individuals that have the proper training and all of that good stuff and have a head about them. Okay, that's tight. Secondly, I'm going to, because the market, and because if I find an individual that has mad skills, that individual's demand out in the marketplace is much greater. And then for me as an employer, I'm going to have to raise my prices just to retain that individual, because somebody's going to try to grab that individual. It's very fluid out there. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. The problem is there isn't, a bunch of extra margin where you can just raise wages and, raise prices and everything will be okay, right? At some point, demand's going to fall off. And I guess that's where you get all these inflation concerns that you're seeing today. So, I mean, it's in a tight spot.
And rightly so. And I know it. Unfortunately, listeners, I've had that experience when I own my maintenance company, and it is very difficult for an owner to manage these valuable people, to keep the lights on, to keep the machine moving, whatever it is. And then the market, I can't begrudge the individual saying, hey, if I make a couple of dollars more over here, it's better for my family. I can't. It just puts people, and it's just a real trickling. What do we do? I mean, how do we, it's the realities out there in the market, and I don't see it, ending anytime soon. What do we do?
Yeah. I mean, I think manufacturing companies have to emphasize the advantage of a career in manufacturing, right? Which is you can come right out of high school, get an entry-level job, and there's a natural career path for you within manufacturing to where you can make 80, 90, 100K salary, within a relatively short amount of time. So I think the key is emphasizing this manufacturing career path that people can take advantage of if they get into this industry, right? That's all we have, because on the surface, if I'm coming out of high school, I see all these different opportunities. I could be an Uber driver, I can go work for Chipotle. Yeah. I can, or I can try to be a machine operator, right? On the surface, I don't know, Uber driver sounds nice. I can work when I want, and no boss really, and be flexible. But there's no next step for you there, right? You're still an Uber driver. What manufacturing has going for it is that there is a path for you to get to that 100K career, in 5 years, even if you work hard at it and learn the skills necessary. So that's what we got to double down on.
Now, you see it, right? And that's because you're right in the trenches of this particular challenge. What about manufacturers? They're going to have to change. They're going to have to adapt to the realities of this market, and be able to educate and say, we want you on board. This is your career path. We expect you to be here and whatever, and we're going to be paying you this much. And I think that the manufacturers, some are better than others, but sometimes they fail to paint that picture.
Totally, 100%. I don't think it's really been all that necessary until recently, but I think too much of the hiring in the industry is very reactive, where my machine operator just quit, right? I need to fill them with someone else has some experience, and that's kind of it. I'd be happy if he just was a machine operator for the next 20 years and just kept that spot filled. I think instead we got to have this paradigm shift where it's very proactive. It's clear that, you're a machine operator for 2 years, and, if you learn these skills and have a good record, you can get promoted to, CNC machinist or setup machinist. And then another 2 years after that, you can be a CNC programmer and learn, CAD CAM. Almost like an up or out strategy. And I always use my wife's company as an example because I think they're the best in the world at this. She works for Boston Consulting Group, and they basically have these levels, and every 2 years you either get promoted or they help you find another job somewhere else. Like you're just not going to make it here. And they're very gracious about it and, help you find another company. But, maybe manufacturers can't get to that extreme, but implementing some of that thinking, I think is critical. And,
but the thinking of that is like, if I do that, if I train these individuals, what do you think's on my mind? They're going to leave me. I spend all this money. They're going to leave me, and they're going to find something else. And it's a vicious cycle. But the reality is that, yes, these manufacturers have to think that way. And they have to deploy these new type. And from my perspective, what I hear you saying, I would probably use your service all the time just to make sure that my funnel maintains some sort of level of activity of people, skilled individuals, because the dynamics of the marketplace warrant some sort of ability to do that. And then the other element as a manufacturer, I've got to paint that picture. Gone are the days that I say, hey, I'm going to hire that machinist. Boom, come on in. Knowing full well that machinist will probably stay maybe 18 months, maybe max. Boom. We got to rethink that. We've got to create these careers. And these are important jobs. These are important. Okay, so with all that painted, with all that reality just sort of thrown on the desk, and manufacturers, what are the real roadblocks right now? What do you see? What's a real challenge right now, outside of all the other things that we've been talking about?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's all these macroeconomic forces. You can't really do too much about that. But, I think what I see is a lot of these companies get in their own way in that, you look at their production floor, they implement all these lean manufacturing principles. It's totally streamlined and efficient. And, it's amazing. Like they're great at producing parts. And then you look at like the hiring and recruiting process, and there's so much like unnecessary friction, unnecessary steps. Like, you're posting jobs to all of these different boards. Applicants are coming in, you're looking through applicants maybe once a week, and maybe it's the HR person and they're trying to do an initial pre-screen and then, get some feedback from the hiring manager. And like, it's just, you can't do that right now with the labor market the way it is. If you're not like reaching out to an applicant the same day or the next day and just making this whole process as streamlined as possible, forget about it. Like you're just not going to get anyone. So I think a lot of it at a micro level is just companies kind of getting in their own way and not having a streamlined process.
Which is an interesting statement. I know when I was in the business of hiring people and all that good stuff, it wasn't pleasant for me. I just, quite frankly, the couple of thoughts that had come through my mind would be, yeah, it looks great on paper. I talked to the individual, sounds okay, but the proof is in the pudding. Get them out on the field, whatever that means, or in the plant, and then all of a sudden, we have an issue, and then I have to relive it again, and then again, and again. It would seem to me your value proposition at FactoryFix makes sense, to where you're doing a lot of my legwork, you're doing a lot of my upfront, and my confidence in the applicant coming to me is much greater, which then removes a lot of headaches from my perspective. So, am I looking at it properly?
Yeah, no, exactly. I think, gone are the days where you can look at hiring as a very like transactional process where, okay, I have this one job opening. I'm going to go through the process and I'm going to fill it. And then I'm going to be done for a while until the next job opening happens. Right. Like that's over with. Now you have to, it's almost like a sales funnel. You need this engine in the background, constantly like, out there looking for leads and then, keeping them warm and that sort of thing. So we essentially act as like that recruiting engine in the background that builds the pipeline, vets applicants, and has people ready to go for when you need them.
And the other thought process, that's a beautiful statement. The other thought process is manufacturers have to just recognize, which they are feeling it, this dynamic work environment. So they have to, in that thinking, to your point, embrace more of a funnel mindset as opposed to one and done, one and done, one and done. It's like, I've got to make sure that my individuals move forward. And that is a beautiful thing. Hey, if we got a career path, I'm going to move them and I'm going to make sure that I'm chirping in them. But that, once again, that gets to the thinking and the culture within the organization, which is very unique.
Totally. You still have to be an attractive place to work. And that's where the career path, comes into play.
Very good. That's key.
Yeah.
Now, they got to invest the time, energy, and effort to make that an attractive place to work. I like that. That's where it gets down to. And there are manufacturers out there that do truly try to make their place attractive and are succeeding in this challenging, shall we say, time. Big time.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. I mean, it's anything you can do to close, using the sales analogy, you got to close the deal with the actual product, which is your culture and your company.
I like it. Boy, we summed it up well. You did. That was fantastic. I like that. Now, looking at my little cheat sheet here, we've got a free trial of manufacturing companies, for manufacturing companies that want to try FactoryFix. What do we do to get that free trial? What's that all about?
Yeah, just go to FactoryFix.com. There's a little form on the website. Just fill out that form and we'll get you set up for a free trial. You can post some jobs, start seeing some candidates, and use our software to streamline the whole hiring process.
It's a beautiful thing. How do they get a hold of you? Let's say I want to talk to Patrick. How do I get a hold of you?
Yeah. Just Patrick at FactoryFix.com is probably the best way.
Look at that. Easy with finding resources, easy with connecting with Patrick. There's no friction whatsoever here. I like what you guys are doing, the value proposition. All right. Hey, Patrick, thank you very much for joining the Industrial Talk podcast. You were absolutely wonderful. Love the topic, by the way.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. Really appreciate it.
All right, listeners, we're going to have all the contact information out on industrialtalk.com. So don't go away. We're going to wrap it up on the other side. Stay tuned.
You're listening to the Industrial Talk Podcast Network.
All right, a quick shout out to Patrick O'Reilly and Team FactoryFix. Excellent conversation. It is a challenging time, as you can tell by the interview, but we've got great thinkers, innovators like Patrick and Team FactoryFix out there. They're going to make it happen. They're passionate about it. They're going to make it happen. One last little reminder, October 5th through the 7th, this is the IoT Solutions World Congress and Industrial Internet Consortium. Both are passionate about making this happen, and it is in beautiful Barcelona space. And I'm telling you right now, you're going to be learning from IoT experts. You're going to be learning from AI experts, 5G. Been there past couple of years. Excellent, and I mean excellent venue, excellent, just an excellent show, bar none. All right, I'll be broadcasting also from the Manufacturing and Technology Show. This is November 9th through the 11th in the beautiful town of Cleveland, Ohio. Make that. You got to make it. We got to get back to normal. All right, be bold, be brave, dare greatly. Hang out with people who are bold and brave and daring greatly. You change the world. We're going to have another great conversation shortly.